It's about time I talk about something a little more recent, isn't it? Lately it's been mostly Unicron Trilogy stuff, a smattering of early movie-era stuff, and the errant G1 figure. Might as well take the time to talk about something that's still clogging up the shelves at the time of this recording, even if War for Cybertron Siege is just around the corner. Welcome to Kit Katastrophe. My name is Kit, and today we'll be taking a look at Transformers Power the Prime's Deluxe Class DREADWIND. This figure came out in 2017 as part of Wave 1 of the Deluxe assortment, and is a heavy retool of Combiner Wars Skydive. DREADWIND, yes, with a D at the end, transforms into a quaint little jet with no fewer than 4 colors vying for primary status. The white was victorious, and it's flanked by a nice shade of Sardinia Piedmont blue on the wings, which are also decorated with some crisp silver stripes with sizable Decepticon badges. Around the rear, there's some dark gray and purple thrown in just for variety. Not sure exactly how I feel about the Proto-Italian blue on the cockpit, but it works well enough, I guess. Of course, being an aerial bot retool means the lion's share of kibble is on the bottom of the jet. No kidding, you can see the entire robot mode there. Somehow it doesn't really bother me too much. Sadly, there's no actual landing gear to speak of. As for armament, DREADWIND comes with a blaster in that same Mega Evolved Genoese color, which can plug into the top of the jet and look dumb. Other options for looking dumb include the underside of the wing and the side of the fuselage, the latter of which actually managing to look believable. He also comes with a piece of prime armor, but we'll talk about that later. Transformation into robot mode is actually a little more involved than the standard aerial bot affair, but it doesn't exactly pull any surprises. If you've seen any of the previous offerings of Deluxe Class jets in Combiner Wars, you know exactly how this guy rolls. Robot mode is pretty damn solid, though it does have a few issues. First of all, DREADWIND's cockpit is sticking straight up from his back instead of forming his chest. It's a shame they couldn't have worked a way for the cockpit to fold over like it should. Maybe if DREADWIND was part of Titan's Return, things could have been different. Alas. Also, the jet wings stick off the legs in a rather garish way. I prefer to have them flip forward so that he takes up less Z-axis space and proudly displays the Decepticon badge on his cankles. As far as things I like, I really enjoy the added purple in this mode, and the extra toothpaste blue is always welcome. The head sculpt is to die for. I've always really enjoyed DREADWIND's head, looking like a cross between Daredevil and Batman. The proportions are a little hench too, with the arms looking uncharacteristically beefy for the aerial bot mold, and the legs being bulked out by the wings. DREADWIND can hold his turquoise gun firmly in his hand or arm mount it. Also, he can stick it in the ports on his shoulders for a doofy shoulder turret look. His prime armor can attach to the side of his arm like a giant buckler, which looks alright, or attach to his chest as a giant breastplate, which doesn't. The Colgate plate in the middle can be removed to form a makeshift handgun of sorts. One can place a Titan Master, an Enigma of Combination, or a Prime Master in the slot to fill it in. DREADWIND's posability is extremely standard. He has practically every joint you could expect on the aerial bot mold. He has a rather limited ball-jointed head, however, and I would have liked it if his wrists could swivel. Also, the sheer depth of the lower legs makes posing difficult sometimes. All in all, posability is inoffensive. DREADWIND is almost completely identical to Skydive in his leg configuration. All you do is turn DREADWIND back into vehicle mode, flip the cockpit out, and flip the wings up. It's a very serviceable leg design, albeit extremely tiresome at this point in the Prime Wars trilogy. His arm mode is actually a little more varied from Skydive's, but only barely. The wings end up on the wrist instead of jutting out from the shoulder, and it's the only limb mode where you can actually utilize the prime armor he comes with, as it forms a hand, and a hand alone. All in all, the limbs are also inoffensive. I've used that word again. Inoffensive. That's all DREADWIND is, really. Inoffensive. His jet mode and robot mode do everything they need to. His limb modes do everything they need to. He doesn't really bring anything special to the table other than simply being a different character and moving the wings somewhere else. So, while I still like him, and while I don't regret purchasing him, I can't exactly recommend him any more than just mildly. This has been Kit Katastrophe. It's time for me to transform and roll out.